Guys, welcome to the channel. In this video is my Premier League predictions game week 14. Game week 13 was an exciting weekend full of interesting results. Chelsea versus Arsenal at the Stamford Bridge ended in a dramatic 1-1 draw. Manchester United went to the Selhurst Park and they got a 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace. Liverpool got a win in game week 13, and well, going into this game week 14, I'm looking out for spot on predictions. Game week 11, I had only one game spot on predicted, and well, I'm expecting to do better going into the midweek Premier League predictions. So without wasting much of your time, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment your thoughts and your predictions at the comment section. Let's get started with my game week 14 predictions. Starting off the Premier League predictions for game week 14 at the Vitality Stadium on Tuesday is between AFC Bournemouth versus Everton. This is going to be an exciting game coming up in game week 14. Bournemouth hosting Everton. In game week 13, Bournemouth lost 3-2 against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. Everton at home lost 4-1 to Newcastle United in game week 13. Right now, looking at the Premier League table, Bournemouth is now 11th on the Premier League table with 19 points minus of 2 goals. Talking about Everton, they are also 14th on the Premier League table with 18 points minus of 3 goals as it stands in game week 13. What is my score prediction going into this game at the Vitality Stadium in game week 14? Well, I'm predicting AFC Bournemouth to get a result over Everton. My score prediction is going to be a 2-1 victory for Bournemouth. Bournemouth 2, Everton 1. Oh yes, moving on to the next game at the Craven Cottage in game week 14 is between Fulham versus Manchester City. Looking at these two teams in game week 13, Fulham went to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and they got a 2-1 victory over Tottenham Hotspur in a London derby in game week 13. Talking about Manchester City, also in game week 13, they got a 3-2 victory over Leeds United, which Phil Foden got a last-minute winner for Manchester City in that game. Which even in that game, Manchester City got the 2 early goals, and later on they sat down for Leeds to equalize, and Phil Foden got that winner that gave Manchester City all the 3 maximum points. So looking at both teams on the Premier League table as it stands in game week 13, Manchester City right now, they are second on the Premier League table with 25 points plus of 15 goals. Talking about Fulham, they are also 15th on the Premier League table with 17 points minus of 2 goals. What do I think is going to happen at the Craven Cottage coming up in game week 14? Well, I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. My score prediction for this game is going to be a 2-2 draw. Manchester City 2, Fulham 2. Moving on to the next game at the St. James Park in game week 14 is between Newcastle United versus Tottenham Hotspur. This is going to be one of my favorite games that I'm going to look out for coming up this midweek games that is coming up. Newcastle hosting Tottenham Hotspur in St. James Park. Why? Because in game week 13, Newcastle United managed to get a 4-1 victory over Everton, whilst Tottenham Hotspur at home lost 2-1 in a London derby against Fulham. Right now, looking at both teams on the Premier League table, Tottenham Hotspur is now 12th on the league table with 18 points plus of 5 goals. Talking about Newcastle United, they are also 13th on the Premier League table with 18 points plus of 1 goal. What is my score prediction going into this game at the St. James Park coming up this midweek? Well, I'm predicting this game to also go in favor of Newcastle United. Looking at Tottenham, they've not been good in their recent games. They lost against Arsenal, they lost against Fulham, and this game that's coming up at the St. James Park, I think is going to be a very difficult one for Tottenham Hotspur. But my score prediction in this game is going to be a 2-1 victory for Newcastle United. But I will not be shocked if this game ends in a draw. Moving on to the next game at North London at the Emirates Stadium is between Arsenal versus Brentford. This is going to be an interesting game coming up in game week 14. Talking about Arsenal in game week 13 to the Stamford Bridge, and they got a 1-1 draw against Chelsea. Despite in the game, Chelsea played with 10 men against Arsenal, who are now topping the Premier League table with 30 points plus of 18 goals. Talking about Brentford at the moment, they are also 10th on the Premier League table, 19 points plus of 1 goal. What is my score prediction going to this game in game 14 at the Emirates Stadium? Well, I'm predicting this game to also end in a draw, but my score prediction in this game is going to be a 1-1 draw. Arsenal 1, Brentford 1. But I will not be shocked if Arsenal snatch a win, because I think Arsenal have a very good team that they can win. But well, I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. 1-1 draw. Moving on to the next game in game 14 at the Emirates Stadium is between Brighton versus Aston Villa. This is the battle between 4th on the league table versus 5th on the league table. Looking at both teams in game 13, Brighton got a 2-0 victory and Aston Villa also got a 1-0 victory over Wolves in game 13. Going into this game right now, Aston Villa, they are 4th on the Premier League table with 24 points plus of 5 goals. Talking about Brighton, they are also 5th on the Premier League table with 22 points plus of 5 goals. What is my score prediction going into this game at the Emirates Stadium in game week 40? Well, I'm predicting this game to also end in a draw. My score prediction in this game is going to be a 2-2 draw, but I will not be shocked if any of these teams snatch a win. Either 2-1 victory, can go for either side, but my score prediction in this game is a 2-2 draw. Oh yeah, so before I move on to the next game, let's take a look at my sponsor for this video. Interest in purchasing the property in West Africa, Ghana to be precise, in Accra, then contact the number on the screen or personally send me a DM on Instagram and we will take it from there. Without much of time, let's continue with my predictions. On to the next game is at the 12th more in game week 14 is between Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Talking about both teams in game week 13, Burnley lost at the GT Community Stadium by 3-1 against Brentford, whilst Crystal Palace too at home lost 2-1 to Manchester United in game week 13. What do I think is going to happen at the 12th more in game week 14? Looking at both teams on the Premier League table as of now, Crystal Palace, they are now 9th on the Premier League table with 20 points plus of 6 goals. Talking about Burnley too, right now as it stands, Burnley is now 19th on the league table with 10 points minus of 12 goals as it stands in game week 13. What is my score prediction going into this game at the 12th more in game week 14? Well, I'm predicting Crystal Palace to bounce back from the loss against Manchester United and get a result over Burnley. My score prediction in this game is going to be a 1-0 victory over Burnley. Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 0. Moving on to the next game at the Molineux Stadium in game week 14 is between Wolves versus Nottingham Forest. This is going to be one of the interesting games coming up. Looking at both teams on the league table as it stands, Wolves is now 20th at the bottom of the league table with just 2 points minus of 21 goals as it stands in game week 13. Talking about Nottingham Forest, also 60th on the league table with 12 points minus of 9 goals. In game week 13, Nottingham Forest lost 2-0 and Wolves also lost 1-0 against Aston Villa in game week 13. What is my score prediction going into this game at the Molineux Stadium in game week 14? Well, I'm predicting Nottingham Forest to get a result over Wolves. My prediction in this game is going to be a 3-1 victory for Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest 3, Wolves 1. Moving on to the next game at the Ellen Road in game week 14 is between Leeds United versus Chelsea. This is going to be a very difficult game coming up in game week 14. Looking at Chelsea in game week 13 got a 1-1 draw against Arsenal at the Stamford Bridge, which in that game Chelsea played with 10 men against the league leaders Arsenal, and still they were able to get a point out of that game against Arsenal. Talking about Leeds United too, in game week 13 got a 3-2 loss against Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium in game week 13. Looking at both teams on the league table as it stands in game week 13, Chelsea is now third on the league table with 24 points plus of 12 goals. Talking about Leeds United, they are also 18th on the league table with 11 points minus of 12 goals as it stands in game week 13. What is my score prediction going to this game at the Elland Road? Well, I'm predicting Chelsea to get a victory over Leeds United. My score prediction is going to be a 3-0 victory for Chelsea. Chelsea 3, Leeds United 0. Moving on to the next game at Anfield is between Liverpool versus Sunderland. This is going to be one of the most interesting games coming up in game week 14. Liverpool hosting Sunderland at the Anfield. Well, talking about Liverpool in game week 13 got a 2-0 victory over West Ham United, and while Sunderland also in game week 13 secured a 3-2 victory over AFC Bournemouth, which I think in that game Sunderland went 2 goals down and later on did a comeback and got that victory against Bournemouth at the Stadium of Light in game week 13. Well, as I already mentioned, Liverpool won 2-0 against West Ham in game week 13. What do I think is going to happen at Anfield? Looking at both teams on the league table, Sunderland is now 6th on the league table with 22 points plus of 4 goals. Talking about Liverpool, they are also 8th on the league table with 21 points plus of 0 goal as it stands in game week 13. What is my score prediction going to this game at Anfield? Well, I'm predicting Sunderland to surprise Liverpool. Well, I'm predicting a 2-1 victory for Sunderland. Sunderland 2, Liverpool 1. Moving on to the last game in game week 14 at the Old Trafford Stadium in Manchester is between Manchester United versus West Ham United. This is going to be an exciting encounter coming up in game week 14. Looking at Manchester United in game week 13, went to the Selhurst Park and they secured a 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace, which even in that game, Manchester United went down by 1-0 in the first half. And later on in the second half, did a comeback and got 3 maximum points over Crystal Palace. What do I think is going to happen at the Old Trafford where West Ham United also in game week 13 lost 2-0 against Liverpool? Well, Manchester United is now 7th on the league table with 21 points plus of 1 goal. Talking about West Ham, they are also 17th on the league table with 11 points minus of 12 goals as it stands in game week 13. What is my prediction going to this game in game week 40? Well, I'm predicting Manchester United to secure a 2-0 victory over West Ham United. Manchester United 2, West Ham United 0. Yeah, so this has been my prediction for Premier League game week 14. Comment your predictions and your thoughts at the comment section. My name is Andy Final, and please kindly like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are doing more content back to back, and this time around I know this video is quite a bit late because it's midweek and I'm posting it today. But if you're interested in purchasing a property in Ghana, West Africa, Accra to be precise, then please contact the numbers on the screens, or contact the numbers, or probably send me a DM on IG and I'll get back to you and we'll take it from there. Till we meet in another video. Bye bye for now.